Hello, welcome to the Boni Reyes podcast. This is episode number 2. If you haven't seen the first episode, it is somewhere around here. Or if not, just go into my channel. It's the only video that I have. It's called Getting Started. I hope you've watched it. What I want to talk about today is about being your best friend. Now, there are certain things that go into being your best friend, and a lot of it is to be right up here, make sure that you're right in your mind, and make sure that you're having the right thoughts and not the wrong thoughts. And I really wanted to come today with this because I went to this conference today with the president of Microsoft. So the president of Microsoft came down to El Paso and gave out this speech with one of his public relations manager, quote unquote social media manager and whatnot. And it really caught my attention when I saw it. And they were talking about how your mind is a tool. And to be quite honest, this really resonated with me because he also talks about how technology is somebody's tool but someone else's weapon. And what I thought was, your mind is actually the biggest tool. And I did this once. We were driving down to Ruidoso, and I asked my family members, and I asked them, at work, what is your biggest tool? For one of them was their gloves. For one of them was their scissors. For one of them was their headset. And one of them said the right answer, which was her mind. And I was like, wow, she knows. So I asked her, and it's exactly right. It's true. It's your mind. I was looking for something radical like a ratchet or something crazy. But when she said my mind, I honestly felt relieved. I was very, very happy because, she had that in mind. Everybody else was like, oh shit, it's true. And once I started explaining how your mind is your biggest tool and how if you use it wisely, it can be a tool of progression, and if not, it can be a tool of destruction. I didn't say that then. I didn't really talk about it a whole lot when we were driving, but I want to touch on it now because it's very true. You can become your best friend by getting into your mind and giving yourself positive feedback and allowing yourself to grow and making sure that you learn from your mistakes and making sure that you learn from failure. But if you take a different direction and you say, well, look at you now. You're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to be able to do that. You will never get to run a mile. Look at yourself. Look at what you're doing now. You're never going to become successful. You're never going to get that job. You're never going to finish that. You're never going to go back to school. If you tell yourself that you're never going to this or that you're never going to that, you're never going to that, period. Because the first person that should tell you you're going to get there is already putting you down. And that is very, very bad because first, you don't believe in yourself. Second, you're already giving yourself a reason why not to succeed or why not to reach that goal. And third, you are not only putting yourself down and doing all that stuff, but you're only getting yourself into that comfort zone that you were before. Because once you start brainstorming on how you can go back to the gym, how you can create that possibility for a job or that job opportunity or that new position at work so that you can get a raise or whatever, once you start thinking of that and you start just shooting yourself down, I don't know why I'm doing that, but you start shooting yourself down, you will never get there because within yourself you're already beating yourself up. So for some of us that is very obvious. For some other of us it's really not. And what I've really come to figure is common sense is not so common. You would think people would know, like, okay, if I beat myself down, I'm not going to get there. But really, they never think of that, and they actually tell themselves that. There's a lot of people out there that think they know it all. And there's a lot of people out there that don't need to hear this because they have it all figured out. But then you go back and look at them and they don't have it figured out. They are living at home. They have everything that they ever wanted, but yet they're not happy up here. They're not their friends. They might have their shelter and their vehicle and a great source of income and everything is fine, but yet up here they're still hating on this one person, they're still hating on that other person, and they're not happy inside because they are not their best friends. So guess what? They're not going to be anybody's best friend. You think you're going to be someone's best friend because they talk to you and they tell you all these good things and whatnot. But when you talk to them, you're always putting them down and you're always shitting on them and you're always telling them how this will never work and how you already tried this and it never worked and anything, whether it be at work, whether it be at home, whether it be at the gym, whether it be anywhere. So how can you be somebody's best friend if you're not your own best friend? Be happy within yourself. Be positive within yourself. Use your tool and progress. So that's one of the things I was told in this meeting. And also believing in the process is something that came to me. And that wasn't during the meeting or during the presentation. This was something that just came to me while I was, thinking and while I was paying attention. And honestly, when you believe in the process, everything becomes a lot easier. So an example that I had was when I was running, I used to run the treadmill and I used to go 5.5 miles per hour for 20 or 10 minutes. If I even got on a treadmill. I was so used to getting there and looking at treadmill gets me tired. Let's go do some arms, let's go do some tricep, or, let's bench or whatever. The usual, right? Whatever can give you a pump, but not get you too tired so that you can afterwards go take a shower and, relax at home. And then I started thinking, why don't I get on a treadmill? Then a friend of mine, which I was going to the gym initially with, met with me at the gym, or I actually bumped into him at the gym, and he's like, I'm going to run for 20 minutes. And I said, run for 20 minutes? Yeah, I'm going to run. Before you work out? Yeah. And then he started explaining why and whatnot, and I was like, okay. So I started running with him, and I got tired. But then I saw that he was, running and that he could do it, and I said, I can do it too. So I started telling myself, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And I ran for those 20 minutes. Afterwards, I said, okay, well, if I did it the first time, I can do it again, right? So ever since then, I started running 20 minutes before every workout. I never thought I would start my workout with the one thing I didn't want to touch before at all. I never thought that I was going to go and jump on a treadmill for 20 minutes. Now I do 18 minutes at 7.5, I do 1 minute at 8.5, and I do the last minute at 10 miles an hour. I do that to myself. I love it now. I want to get all that sweat on my back and smell like shit. I really want to run. And I enjoy it now. But what I was telling myself before is, I'm going to get tired. I never see the progress. So I was getting into my own head. I was becoming my own enemy. So now I'm my friend. I don't talk to myself and, hey, dude, you're great or whatever, but I tell myself in my mind, you know what, you can do this, you can do this, you've done it before, why can't you do it now? And that's one thing that happened as well. I started, and then I went on, and then I didn't want to do it anymore, but then I got to the treadmill, and I said, you know what, I can do it. And the purpose for all of this was because I wanted to have a healthier lifestyle. And the whole willpower and the whole motivation thing kind of went aside and really went for the purpose. Why am I doing this? Because I want to be healthy, because I want to be in shape, because I want to be in the greatest shape I can be in every single way in my life. And it really changed. The whole willpower and motivation, yeah, it's still there. It happens. But really the purpose of trying to get healthy because I want to be here for my family and be here for myself and be here for everything that I want to do is really the reason why it's kept me going. So doing that and getting rid of the one day it's going to happen. Getting rid of the, well, one day I'm going to getting that treadmill, or one day I'm going to talk to this person and I'm going to jump into a business. No, not one day. On Thursday, October the yada yada at 70 yada badaba, I am going to call this person. I'm going to tell them, hey, I want to talk to you about this and that. And that's exactly what happened to me. I was working, right, as usual, and something just popped in my head and said, you're doing this whole podcast thing, and what you wanted to do was talk to local businesses, right? Why don't you talk to this one person that you've already worked with, that you've already experienced with, that has a great attitude, that talks to you like nothing, that is a good friend of yours? Why don't you talk to him and ask him, hey, do you mind jumping on this podcast and, talking to me about how you started your business? And guess what he said? Yes. He said yes. He said, yeah, well, we can do it, but it'll be in Spanish and English. Fine. I love Spanish. I think I speak better Spanish than I do English. I mean, I'm pretty sure that with my accent right now, you can probably notice that, but I love it. I love that he was open for it, and I love that I didn't put it out to one day. I did it. I told him, can we do this? He said, yes, we'll do this next week. Great. And he's always been this great personality, and if anybody knows this guy, his name is Ivan. He really does have this great aura, and talking to people for him is really not hard. But anyhow, I got this whole one day idea, and I left it aside, and I said, you know what, I'm going to do it today when I was in the middle of work. So that happened. And then I also said, one day I'm going to go to the gym, and now I even go to the gym on weekends. When usually people don't even go on Fridays. You would be surprised how Friday night or even Friday period is like the nobody at the gym day. Nobody goes to the gym on Fridays, and nobody goes to the gym that I go to, because when I go, there's like maybe one old guy and the dude that cleans, and that's it. And on Saturdays there's a lot more people, but a lot more people means like 6. There's not a crowd of people on Saturdays. Sundays, forget it. No one is there. No one is there on Sundays. And that I've seen. I've seen maybe 2, 3 guys that are there. But people like to take these days off, and that's fine. What I've learned from these people or these role models that I have is they don't take weekends off or vacation. They didn't do that when they were starting, and I'm starting. So what I said, well, I can take weekends off or maybe one day off of work, but as far as getting my stuff done, what I want to do in front of the camera for the podcast or my health and the gym and working out, everything, I should really not skip a weekend. I'm not going to the gym 7 times a day. I'm going 5 times a week. 7 times a week. I'm going 5 times a week. But even then, I don't do Saturday and Sunday off. I do maybe Wednesday off and Sunday off, or Wednesday or Thursday off and Saturday off. But I usually the only day I actually take off is on Sundays, and maybe it's not the full weekend, but I am doing something on the weekend that has to do with the business, the podcast. Well, the business, right? It hasn't even started, but for me, it's a business already, a podcast, the working out, and yada, yada, yada. So leaving everything aside and allowing yourself to understand what you want to do, and leaving the whole one day out of the picture and putting yourself a date, scheduling it is very important, and that's exactly what I did. And getting rid of that excuse and having a vision. This is one thing that this guy did say, the president of Microsoft. He said, if you don't have a vision, you will not have a long life either. And that is very true. If we don't have a vision, we're not going to go anywhere. Like, even if we're getting ready for work tomorrow, like setting up the alarm, like getting your stuff ready, and which people don't do. I don't know. I know I didn't do this, where I got my uniform ready, or what I was going to wear. I put it nice and neat. I put my shoes right next to my clothes and my socks and everything. I got everything ready for tomorrow so that when I woke up, I didn't do that before. Now I do. If I'm going to do something, now I do. But if you have that vision, even if it's that small, like getting ready for tomorrow, um, you will live longer. You will have that. You will have that long life, even if it's a day by day. Now, all these successful people, all these people that want to have or want to thrive in this great adventure or this great venture that they have in their mind, they don't get ready for tomorrow. What they do is they get ready for next year, the next 5 years, the next 10 years. That's what they do. They get everything ready. They want to know what's going to happen at the end of the quarter, by the middle of the year, by the third quarter, and by the end of the year. How are we going to do it for the next quarter? And they get ready for all these things. This is something that I do at work. At the beginning of the summer, I'm already getting ready for Black Friday. At the beginning of Black Friday, I'm already getting ready. Or when Black Friday hits, that's done. You need to get ready for tax season. You need to get ready for all these other things. So that's how these companies keep growing. That's how they keep going. Now, us as individuals should do the same thing. And I believe that all of us have that some way or another, where they tell you, so who's going to work the rest of the week, or how are you going to schedule this for the rest of the month, or, so they have that vision. Why wouldn't you have a vision for what you want to do? Like get more money, get a promotion, get a different job, start school, lose weight. Why wouldn't we have a vision for that, right? So that's something that really touched, and something that I wanted to talk about in this podcast, because it was very, very it really resonated with me. And well, I was able to think about it a little bit more. And I really couldn't believe that I was back at school. That's one of the things that really touched me when I was, listening to this man. I used to skip school, period. Now, in high school, it was a little harder because they were calling daddy and mommy. But in college, if you didn't go to school, you were only wasting your money. That's it. You were wasting your money. You were paying for a class that you were not going to. That was it. And when I was going through college, I really did not go to class. I don't think, well, maybe at the end, there was maybe the last year I went to maybe 90% of my classes. 90% of the time that I had to be there, I was there. I would skip school. The first year, I was there maybe 20% of the time. I really didn't care. I was there because I got a refund from college. I remember it was $3,400 that I got, and that lasted me for about 7-8 months of Whataburger, and it lasted me through clothes, some gas, stuff like that. The second year, it really hit bad because they got rid of my financial aid. I had to go to a different school, and I kind of got the idea that, you know what, I need to take a different route here. And when I was heading to UTEP, and I was walking to the class that I actually had class in, this auditorium where I actually had a class, I couldn't believe that I was voluntarily walking and going into a classroom to listen to some dude where there was a class going on. I mean, it was obvious. People had their backpacks and their notebooks out. When I got there, they were introducing these people. The teacher got off. Then there was this presenter. And there was lots of kids leaving. There was lots of students leaving the auditorium. And I was impressed that, wow, like I came back. I want to listen to this guy. And he gave me lots of insights, and it was pretty interesting because as he was talking about Microsoft and cybersecurity, another thing, and just to put it out, go out there and get involved. Just put yourself out there. I went to this Tech Expo, the El Paso Technology Expo. They were talking about access points and 4x4x4x4, and how now it's 8x8x8x8. That does not interest me because I have no idea what that means. But I thought, technology. They talked about Wi-Fi and how wireless communication works, and regarding with what I work, I mean, I thought, okay, wireless, Wi-Fi, and I thought, wireless as in cell phones and whatnot. So I thought maybe it would link somehow, but it was completely out of my area of expertise. They were talking completely technology. There was this guy, a something manager from Cisco. He came down from San Francisco, and he was talking about how Cisco started. Now, there was a little bit of substance there, but it was all about cybersecurity. It was about how the bandwidth of something, and I had no idea what I was listening to, but I got out there. I listened to a few things. Then I said, okay, there's going to be a part where they're going to involve wireless. And then this dude from, I don't know, he was from Cisco as well, but he was like the lead IT something. I have no idea what he was. He was talking about wireless, but what he was talking about was wireless internet. He was talking about Wi-Fi, and that's where he brought in all this stuff. But I had no idea. I was surprised that I was even there. After that, I left. The conference ended at 3. I ended up leaving like 2 or 2.5 hours early. Now, I wanted to try these things. The same thing with this thing. Same thing with the presentation today. This guy he started in Paris. He was in Berlin. He landed here. He's going to Mexico today or tonight. He's actually catching a flight probably now. And he was talking about how he went out there and he got this chance. I mean, they were talking about technology and how social media this and social media that and how privacy and all this good stuff, right? So it was a little bit more relevant, and I got a hint of it. But he talked about how he started, and I always like to grab those little golden nuggets, and how he told himself that this would be a lot better if he gave himself a chance to go to Paris and apply, and he got the job. And he said, for my first gig in Microsoft 26 years ago, working in Paris, France, it was not such a bad gig. And I said, wow, that's very true. So what's holding you back? What's holding me back from creating this podcast or this video for YouTube? Nothing. So here I am. And you can be there too. You can really be there too. If what you want to do is this, and you know that it takes 1 + 1 because that'll be 2, then do 1 + 1. What's holding you back? You don't need this expensive, set. This is literally my phone. This is I want to say $48 microphone. That's it. That's all you need. If what you want to do is become a chef, okay, look up some stuff online. Everything is online. If our grandparents had the ability to have infinite knowledge at their fingertips, they would go nuts. If they had the chance to grab a 5x3 cube or box and look up anything they wanted to look up back in the 1900s or the 1800s, early 1900s, they would be amazed. It would be like magic. Do you know the circumference of the Earth? I'm pretty sure you can find out in about 20 seconds. Do you know how much an 18-wheeler weighs? You can find out in 32 seconds. And I'm going by very slow speeds because somebody can really just type that out and know in 6 seconds. So we have the ability and we have the knowledge at our fingertips. We have all this information at our fingertips, and we can really, really use it into our advantage. But the only way that we're going to get there is if we set ourselves to win. If we become our best friends. If we grab all these things and put them in front of us and start by using our mind. We need to use our head. We need to use the biggest tool that God gave us, and that's the ability to think. And I was also watching this thing on Netflix, and they were talking about the mind and how the mind works, and it is incredible how the mind works. And really just use your biggest tool. That's your mind. And when you think you can't, take a step back and look what you've already accomplished. And like I said in my first podcast or in my first video, Look how far you've gotten. Look how far you've gotten. If you have a sickness, if you have a disparity, if you're handicapped, or if you're crippled in some way, if you've had all these major setbacks, if something has happened to you, if you've had the joy to have kids, but yet that caused you to set you back a little bit because you couldn't continue school or work or whatever. Look at yourself now. Where are you now? I know for me, it was not having a shelter for a minute or two, and now I have shelter. Now I have the ability to come home. So everybody thinks they're not going to get out of it, but you will. You can. All you have to do is make sure that you become your best friend. And don't blame circumstances. Don't blame what is happening. Don't blame none of that for where you are now. Don't think that somebody has more time or somebody has more money. And this is something very, very true for all of us. And I heard it this morning from Gary in one of his videos. He said, trying to blame the circumstances or trying to blame, the fact that we don't do the research is like trying to blame the basketball for not becoming LeBron James. That was impressive for me. How can you blame something like that for not becoming something? Like, it doesn't, for me, it was very, very true, because I can't blame myself or I can't blame the phone for not recording every time I'm thinking about this great analogy that I had, or this great anecdote that I had, or this great idea. Your ideas will die at the tip of your lips if you don't do nothing about it. If you have a great idea, there was this lady that created a swimsuit with 2 buttons at the bottom in the middle for ladies and babies, so that they can go to the restroom and change the diapers. They had a problem, and they solved it, and now they're making millions. Now, I'm not saying that everybody should have an idea and make millions. If that's not what you want, then if what you want to do is be the best dad or be the best mom, that's okay, that's great. How can you be the best dad, or how can you be the best mom? Use your tool. Use your biggest tool. If what you want to do is lay back, look at your kids, or if what you want to do is lay back and look at your gut or look at your stomach, if what you want to do is go back, look at your phone and look at your bank account and just snap your fingers and, oh, there it is, $1 million. Oh, there it is, I lost 80 pounds. Or, oh, there it is, my kids are super happy and they love their parents. It's not going to happen. Once again, that's something that I said at the very beginning. You need to make sure that you use what you have. Use your tool. Your mind is very, very powerful. Your mind is your biggest tool. There needs to be a sacrifice for success. There has to be. Nobody that ever succeeded in anything or that achieved anything, nobody that ever achieved something great got there easily. It just doesn't happen. And what they needed to do is make sure that they thought about what they needed, they thought about what they wanted, and they put it to work. They put all of that to work. So become your best friend. Make peace with yourself. If something is going on, it's okay. Let it go. Think about what is going on. Think about what it is that you want. Think about what you can do and do it. Just get started, right? But think, how can you become your best friend? Don't put yourself down anymore. Don't put yourself down. Oh, well, it's because I'm too dumb. No, you're not dumb. You're thinking about it. You're not dumb. I'm too stupid. No, you're not stupid. I'm too fat. No, you're not fat. Oh, I'm too short. No, you're not short. Oh, I'm too tall. You're not tall. You're fine. Everything's okay. Somebody with your same setbacks or problems or issues or failures, or with even more failures or more issues, got it done. All they had to do was think about it. So change the way you think. If you're being negative, be positive, become your best friend, and remember, you can do this. I hope you enjoyed. Go watch my other video, like this one, share it. I have 3 subscribers. Thank you for those 3 subscribers. I love you guys, and hopefully I can come up with some more content. I will show you some of the pictures so that you know I'm not lying. The president of Microsoft was here in El Paso. I took a picture with him. Oh, and one thing I forgot, and I'm really proud of this. If you want to click away, that's fine, but there was about 500 people, and they asked who wanted to ask a question, right? If anybody had any questions, you guys can come up here. You guys can ask a question. I wanted to ask something like very important, and I have it here. The question was, how do you advertise or create awareness to the importance of privacy, because that was one of the biggest things that they were talking about, privacy, to those users of technology or of social media that care less about privacy, because really all they want is exposure, right? And not the question, not the answer. What really got me super, super pumped and what I really enjoyed was that I got up there and I did it. I was thinking all this shit, like, no, my heart was beating out of my chest. My hands were, clenched. I was very, very nervous. I thought that I really thought that everybody was going to laugh at me. I took a deep breath while my heart was ripping my shirt, and I said, I am never gonna see any of these I'm never gonna see any of these people in my life. No one in this auditorium knows who I am, and I don't know anyone in this auditorium. At the end of the day, I actually did know one guy. We went and we had Burger King. It was great. I was able to talk to him, but before this was at the very end, but I was able to get up, and it was at the middle. It was right in the middle of the auditorium. So the people, the back half of the auditorium saw me standing there, because they had these 2 mics, and they were like, whoever wants to come up. Nobody got up. They asked again twice. We're gonna have time for 1 or 2. I got up. I asked that question that I just mentioned, and I was very proud at the fact that I got up. And I'm gonna look for the link, because they actually recorded all this stuff, and I'm gonna put it out there. I was the first one to get up. After that, another lady and well, actually there was 2 ladies. One got behind me, and the other one got next to me. And but I was the first one up there. When I walked up there, I was walking on spaghetti. My legs were just shaking. When I got there, you can really hear my heart, just bumping into the damn microphone, and I was so scared. And then I once again took a deep breath. They were still talking. They were having a conversation before I was able to ask my question, and I said, they're just humans. They're just humans. They are not going to do anything to you. And I was telling myself, I was being my friend, and I was telling myself, everything's fine. Everything is just fine. Nothing's going to happen to you. You don't know any of these people. They were not going to come back. They're not going to tell you anything on social media, because you have no social media. So just relax, ask your question, and go on. And I did. I asked him a question. Everybody started whispering. So I guess it touched somebody's nerves, or it really caught somebody's attention. The guy was, great question, and yada yada yada. I hope I can play the video if I find it. But I was just trying to throw in there one of my experiences today. I really felt proud of myself. I became my friend, and I was able to go up there and ask something or talk in front of all these people. So if I can do it, you can do it. And really just get rid of all those excuses, all that negative attitude, all that negativity, and become your best friend. Thank you for listening to me, and we'll see you soon.